Ethan Brooks quietly pushed his cleaning cart through the polished hallways of Hayes Technologies in downtown Seattle. Just as the last group of employees headed home, the towering glass headquarters looked impressive from the outside. But Ethan had learned that a company's true character was revealed long after the executive offices emptied. Every evening he wiped conference tables, emptied trash bins, polished windows, and cleaned offices that belonged to people who rarely noticed him. Most employees assumed he was simply another hard-working janitor, trying to earn a living. Ethan never corrected them. To the world, he was a single father, working the night shift to support his 6-year-old daughter, Lily. Every afternoon he picked her up from school, helped with homework, cooked dinner, and tucked her into bed before his trusted neighbor watched over her until he returned home after midnight. His life appeared simple, modest, and ordinary. What no one inside Hayes Technologies knew was that Ethan had volunteered for this assignment himself. His late father, the billionaire founder of the company, had always believed that the true strength of an organization could never be measured by quarterly profits alone. Before passing away, he instructed the board that his son should personally evaluate the company's culture before taking any leadership role. Ethan chose to do it the only way he believed would reveal the truth, by becoming invisible disguised as a janitor. Under a temporary employment contract, arranged through the board chairman, Ethan spent weeks observing how employees treated people who seemed to have no power. Some ignored him completely. Others left unnecessary messes, assuming someone beneath them would clean everything. A few even spoke to him with impatience or disrespect. Yet there were also employees who thanked him, held doors open, and treated him with genuine kindness. Among them was the company's CEO, Victoria Hayes. Unlike many executives, Victoria rarely left the office before 8 in the evening. She reviewed reports herself, answered employee emails personally, and often worked alongside department managers during difficult projects. Every night before leaving, she greeted Ethan with the same warm smile. "Good evening, Ethan." "Good evening, Miss Hayes." She always addressed him by name. One rainy evening, Ethan noticed Victoria, still sitting alone in the executive conference room long after everyone else had gone home. Financial reports covered the large table, and she rubbed her temples with obvious exhaustion. Without saying a word, Ethan walked to the break room, prepared a fresh cup of coffee, and placed it gently beside her. "You looked like you could use this." Victoria looked up in surprise. "You remembered how I take my coffee." Ethan smiled. "You've ordered the same one every night for 3 weeks. She laughed softly. "I guess you're more observant than anyone in this building." As they talked, Victoria learned about Ethan's devotion to Lily, the challenges of raising a child alone, and his quiet determination to give his daughter a better future. Ethan, meanwhile, admired Victoria's humility. Despite leading a billion-dollar company, she never acted superior to anyone around her. Over the following weeks, their conversations became the highlight of both their evenings. They spoke about books, family, leadership, and the importance of treating every person with respect. Victoria found herself looking forward to the quiet moments they shared. After the building emptied, she believed she was getting to know an honest, hard-working janitor whose greatest wealth was his character. Ethan, however, carried a secret that grew heavier with every conversation. He genuinely admired Victoria, but he also knew the day was coming when the truth about who he really was would change everything between them. Several weeks later, Hayes Technologies prepared for its most important board meeting of the year. Rumors spread throughout the headquarters that the company's majority shareholder was finally coming to evaluate senior leadership and announce the future direction of the business. Executives hurried through the hallways carrying reports. Department heads rehearsed presentations, and employees speculated about who the mysterious shareholder might be. Victoria Hayes barely had time to think about anything except the meeting, yet one thought continued to distract her. She hadn't seen Ethan for 2 days. His cleaning cart no longer appeared outside her office each evening, and the quiet conversations she had come to treasure had suddenly stopped. She assumed he had found another job, and felt strangely disappointed that he had left without saying goodbye. As the board meeting began, every executive took a seat around the long conference table. Victoria reviewed her notes one final time before the chairman entered the room. "Ladies and gentlemen," the chairman announced, "today you'll meet the person whose evaluation has determined the future of this company." The conference room door slowly opened. Victoria looked up, expecting another wealthy investor in an expensive business suit. Instead, Ethan walked into the room. He wore a perfectly tailored navy suit, carrying himself with the same calm confidence she had always admired. The room fell silent. Several executives stared in disbelief. One whispered, "Isn't that the janitor?" The chairman smiled. "I'd like to introduce Mr. Ethan Brooks, majority shareholder of Hayes Technologies, and the son of our late founder." No one spoke. Victoria felt as though the room had disappeared around her. Ethan calmly took his place at the head of the table. "For the past 6 weeks," he began, "I've worked inside this company as a night janitor." Several executives lowered their heads, suddenly remembering every careless word and dismissive comment they had made. "I wasn't evaluating financial performance," Ethan continued. "I was evaluating character." He explained how employees treated people who appeared to have no influence, how managers respected or ignored the support staff, and how true leadership revealed itself during ordinary moments rather than formal presentations. Then he turned toward Victoria. Every evening, Miss Hayes thanked the cleaning staff by name. She listened before speaking. She solved problems without blaming others. Most importantly, she treated every employee with equal dignity. Victoria could hardly believe what she was hearing. Ethan smiled. "My father always said that anyone can lead when everyone is watching. Real leaders show respect when no one thinks it matters." The board unanimously confirmed Victoria as permanent CEO. Next, Ethan announced company-wide bonuses for maintenance workers, security officers, receptionists, and support staff whose dedication had often gone unnoticed. He also introduced new policies, requiring every executive to spend 1 day each quarter working alongside frontline employees to better understand their daily challenges. When the meeting ended, the executives quietly filed out, leaving Ethan and Victoria alone in the conference room. Victoria looked at him for a long moment before speaking. "So every conversation we had was part of your evaluation?" Ethan shook his head. "The assignment brought me here." He smiled gently, but getting to know you wasn't part of the plan. Victoria laughed softly through tears. "I spent weeks thinking I was falling for the company's janitor." Ethan stepped closer, and I spent weeks hoping the woman I admired would still see the same man. After learning the truth, Victoria smiled warmly. "I never fell in love with your job." She reached for his hand. "I fell in love with your heart." For the first time since his undercover assignment had begun, Ethan knew he no longer had to hide who he was, and the relationship that started with quiet kindness finally had the chance to grow in complete honesty.